Hi everyone, welcome to Tom's Manshed. Okay, I'm going to start this video off with a shout out to a fellow MG4 owner, Stuart, who's also on the MG owners group and one of my subscribers, so thanks for that, Stuart, who I've just been informed is having a total knee replacement. So he's only just got his MG4 and he's having a total knee replacement, so he'll be laid up in bed for a while, and he said he's going to watch these videos, so get better. Hope it all goes great and get better soon. Start driving that MG4, Stuart. You'll absolutely love it. I'm loving mine. Okay, so to today's review, what it is, I recently did, my last upload was a thing about a new oil-filled radiator I bought for the bedroom. I have got one, a DeLonghi Dragon, that I've been using for over 15 years. When the observatory behind me was first built, I think I got it for that. And I used it in that, and it's been fantastic. I love oil-filled radiators. So I recently bought, in this absolute cold snap of weather, a new one, a Shallon, from Amazon. And like I said, I did the review on that, so check out up here if you want to check out that review. But during that, I did mention, skimmed over the difference between oil-filled radiators and fan heaters. Now, over the years, I've sort of not collected as such, but sort of like accumulated fan heaters. This one here, that's a 3 kilowatt one. This one here, that's a 3 kilowatt one. And this one here, which I remember is from my British Gas days. This is the one we used to leave customers if we had to cut the gas off. We leave them, so it's left over from that. And this is the one I've chose to do the comparison test on, because this is a 2 kilowatt output. So on full, this is 2 kilowatts, as is the DeLonghi Dragon, which I'll be comparing it with in these tests. Now, so like I say, hence doing this video, a dedicated fan heater versus oil-filled radiator review. So basically, a fan heater, as you can see, light as a feather. The advantage is they are small, they are portable, they're great for going camping. We used to use it when we went away in the camper van, or before that, the tent or the caravan. If you're on a hookup on your campsite, you could leave this in, just sort of ticking over at 1 or 2 kilowatts. And they were great. Don't take too much room up in the boot of the car. And ideal for that. Obviously, an oil-filled radiator is way too big for that. They're just not that portable. You can wheel them from room to room. They have casters on. But if it involves like lugging it upstairs, this particular one, the DeLonghi, is much, much heavier than the new one I've just bought, the Shallon. And it is a fair old lifted. You have to be pretty strong to lug it up the stairs, or it'd be best with 2 of you. So not as portable as one of them. But the good thing about them is because they are like basically a chunk of metal that gets hot, they retain the heat really well. As soon as a fan heater turns off, as soon as it's reached the room temperature that you set on the thermostat, it's off and it's stone cold, and the room is cooling down again. And then when it's cool below that threshold, your thermostat clicks in and it's on for a few more minutes. But while it's in its off mode, it is, like I say, it's almost stone cold. It loses its tiny bit of residual heat with the warm plastic almost immediately. Whereas an oil-filled radiator, it takes longer to heat up, as we'll see very, very shortly. It takes longer to heat the room up, but once it's at that temperature, it retains the heat really, really well, because it's just hot oil inside and a block of metal. And again, I'll go into a detail during the video, but the surface area of the fins, and I'll be showing you 3 different ones. The new one I've just bought, the Shallon, which is now in the bedroom, this DeLonghi behind me, and a little tiny one, which is just too tiny and not enough output for the shed. It'd be ideal for like a little airing cupboard or something like that. So I thought I'd show you properly, measuring how long it takes a room to get hot, this shed, and also what power it uses maintaining it at that temperature. Now, I've had them plugged into a power meter, a watt meter behind, which measures the total consumption over any period of time, and you'll see that. And I've also tried to do it both in the same conditions. Now, obviously, I can't control the outside temperature, but we've been in a really, really cold snap this week with like temperatures as low as like -3, -4 here. But I've tried to do it when it's been at about sort of like 1 degree or just -1 or so below. But it's raising the temperature of the room, the existing ambient temperature in the room. The shed is really, really well insulated. It's got insulation in the roof. The roof is very low. The entire shed is only 20 cubic meters, and it's got proper rock wool insulation in the cavity walls, MDF on the inside. It's the best insulated thing in my whole house. Way better than the house. So, like I say, it is quite an even matched thing. It's raising the room temperature by the same amount. So, because of all these times and consumption and kilowatts used and all that, it will be quite a long video. But I did want to make it as detailed as possible just to show you exactly the difference between the two. So, as usual, the red line across the bottom or all the timed tabs at the bottom of the description. If you want to zoom to a certain place, I'll label it all and you can quickly do it. But if you watch the whole video, you'll get a concept on, how the oil-filled radiator is much better. So we'll start now with the test on bringing the room up to temperature. So you'll see in a minute, I've been using this great little weather station sort of thing with outside temperatures and inside temperatures I got from Amazon recently. I'll be doing a review on that when I've fully tested it and everything. But as you'll see on that, the rooms are starting out at about the same temperature, and I'm raising them 14 degrees and timing how long it takes to do it and how many kilowatts it's used in that time. So let's get straight into it now with the fan heater. Right, we just opened up the shed this morning and it is 10:50 now. In here at the moment is 7.2 degrees. That's just the residual heat left over from last night. I went to bed at about 2 o'clock last night when it was at 21 degrees. And outside at the moment is -1.6. So we're going to turn on the fan heater on full blast and see how long it takes to raise the room to a comfortable temperature of say 21 degrees. So here's the fan heater. And the meter is there, so Alexa, turn on shed heater.
Okay.
Okie doke, so I'll just show you it coming on. So we'll put it on full thermostat. Right the way around on maximum. And these switches here, the first heat, as you can see, is it uses, hang on, we'll just have to reset that. Okay, we'll reset that. And you can see it's using 948 watts on low. I'll put the other switch on now. And it's now using 1.8 kilowatts. So we're on full blast now, 1.8 kilowatts. I shall put it onto this function, and that shows you the build up of kilowatts, and we'll see how much it takes. It's used 0.018, 0.019 and so on. It's been going 40 seconds. We'll see how much it takes to get the room up to temperature, and like I say, it's now, it came on at 10:51. So let's see how that does. Okay, so you can see now we're at 21.3 degrees inside, so it's raised it 14 degrees exactly. Outside temperature's just about the same, and we're at 11:54. So it's taken like 1 hour 3 minutes to raise the temperature by 14 degrees, and in that time it has used 1.9 kilowatts. As you see at the top, 103. It's been on for the entire 1 hour 3 minutes. It hasn't turned off on the stat yet because it hasn't got the room up to temperature, and there's no residual heat in this sort do tend to sometimes turn off and on even on full just with the residual heat in them. But if you remember that 1.9 kilowatts of power used and 1 hour 3 minutes to heat to raise the room temperature by 14 degrees to 21.3. That's for the fan heater. Okay, so you saw then the fan heater getting hot, gets the room hot pretty quickly because it's pumping air out into the room, but it was on, and the amount of time it was on for all of that time. There was like no time really. It was turned off. So I'm going to put all the figures up here for the fan heater, and or up here, whatever. And then I'll come back after we've tested the oil-filled radiator, and I'll put them side by side. You can have a look at them. So let's try now under as near as damn it the same conditions, raising it the same amount for the DeLonghi Dragon 2 oil-filled rad. Okay, this is the test of the DeLonghi Dragon, how long it takes to heat the room up on full. So as you can see, the room is at 8.2 degrees. The outside temperature is 0.7. So yesterday when I did the fan it was minus 1.6. So we'll take that into account. And the time, as you see, is 11:15. So we're going to do the same test. We're going to raise the temperature by 14 degrees. So we're going to get it up to 22.3 degrees in here to make it an even test. I can't obviously control the outside temperature, so we'll just see. But I suspect this will take longer than the fan heater because they do take longer to heat up, do they? So I've got it on full. On number 1, you can see the consumption is 840 watts, and on full blast it's 1700 watts. I am running off the car, the V2L off the function of the car. If you don't know what that is, check the tab above and it'll explain that I can, with some electric cars you can run mains appliances, which I'm running a whole shed off, and I think it may be that it's just a bit down on voltage. If we look here, we're on 218 volts, not 240 volts. So this is the third day I've been running the shed off the car in this cold weather. Press reset. Right, so we've reset it now. We'll go on that one, and this is the accumulative amount of electricity being used. So we've been running 10 seconds now, and it's used 0.007 kilowatts. So let's see how long the DeLonghi Dragon takes to get the room up to that same temperature. Okay, we've just gone a bit over. We're going to stop it at 22.3, which would have been a 14 degree temperature rise. It's actually 22.8, so it's gone half a degree over. But as you see, it's been going now for just 2 hours. So it has taken longer, this. We're still on full here, full heat. And if you look, during that 2 hours, it's been switched on for 1 hour, 53 minutes. It's only been off for sort of like 7 or 8 minutes. And in that time it has used 3.2 kilowatts. So more than the fan heater used, because and I did suspect it would be, because the oil-filled radiator does take a while to heat up. If we look though, we're only on like 218 volts to the house now that from the car. So with a 240 volt supply, I suspect that would the wattage would go up, so it would heat up a bit quicker and still probably not use any more because it's heated up quicker. But yeah, that's on full now. It's using 1733. I'll plug the mains in later on in the day and switch over from the car to the mains and just see how much it's using on the mains. But yeah, that's what it used. And so yeah, it did use more getting up to temperature than the fan heater. So as you can see, the oil-filled radiator did take longer, quite a lot longer, to heat the room up because it takes a while for itself to get hot. And while it's on, if you've got them on full blast, as I explained more in detail in the video when I did the review of the Shalom one, if you've got any sort of oil-filled radiator with both the switches on full, there's quite a lot of residual heat build up inside, and the internal thermostat does click off sometimes, thinking the room has reached a maximum temperature 6, even though it hasn't, just because the metal surrounding it is red hot. So you will find it comes off even before the room has reached temperature when they're on full. Once the room's up to temperature and you've just got it on one switch, it's great. It maintains it really good, better than the fan heater. But yeah, so you see on that, it does take longer for the oil-filled radiator. Now, again, I'm mentioning in the videos, I don't know, mentioning that bit, or a bit to come, that I did all these tests running the shed off the EV car, the vehicle to load of the car. Again, I'll be giving a link to that if you don't know what that is. And basically, I can run my entire shed from my car using my car as like a giant battery pack. But when you're doing that, the voltage is about 220 volts instead of the 240 volts. So the heaters are about 100 watts down on the output you'd get plugged direct into the normal mains. But again, it's an even playing field because I did both tests with it all connected to the car. So yeah, so you've seen now the fan heater getting the room up from cold or from reasonably cold to the comfortable temperature, and the oil-filled radiator. So you might think, oh, look, the fan heater is better. But we'll see now, with a full 2-hour test, or what, I got the room really stable condition. I had it running a while before I even started the test. Got it exactly maintaining a temperature, and then I tested for 2 hours how many kilowatts it uses during that 2 hours to maintain that temperature of around about 21 degrees. Now, the fan heater has got a bigger range of shut off and shut on. It can drop sort of like between 19 and 21. It's got like a 2 degree range. The oil-filled radiator is much more accurate. It usually keeps it within about 1 degree because the metal, even when it's turned off, acts as like a reservoir, keeping the room at temperature. But we'll see now, first of all, how much the fan heater uses in that couple of hours, maintaining a temperature of the one you'll see about 21 degrees. The outside temperature is 1.5 degrees and it's 20.7 degrees in here now. So we'll just reset this. And as you can see, it's 960 watts. So if we go on to now function, and this is telling you the accumulated power used. I've already explained, but in case I put this in the video first, this top figure here, 36 seconds at the moment, is the accumulated time the fan heater has been on maintaining this room temperature of 21 degrees. And it's so far used 0.014 of a kilowatt. When it clicks off on the thermostat, it will stop this clock and stop taking readings. So this just shows you the accumulated total after a preset time. and you can see we're just on setting number 1. It's enough on that to maintain it. That's the position of the thermostat to maintain 21 degrees. And yeah, we'll come back in 2 hours and see how much it's used. Okay, we're just coming up to 15:36 now, so it's been 2 hours. As you see, the outside air temperature now has dropped to 0.3, just dropped another 0.2 of a degree, so that's dropped from 1.2, so it's dropped a degree outside. Inside temperature is, we started at 20.7, it's 21.7 now. It's dropped to below 20 as well. It's dropped to 19ish, sort of 0.7, because this fan heater has like a 2%, 2 degrees between on and off. So let's see how much power it's used. And so far in 2 hours it's used 1.6 kilowatts. And in that 2 hours, you can see there at the top, it's 1 hour and 44 minutes it's been switched on. So in that 2 hours it's only been off for like 15 minutes, which you'll see is nothing like as good as the oil-filled radiators. Okay, so again, I'll put the figures up here, and you can see all the relevant facts. That was the fan heater. Let's see now the oil-filled DeLonghi Dragon 2, and again 2 hours, same sort of conditions. Let's see the results on that. Right, we'll do the test on the DeLonghi Dragon now. We'll run it for 2 hours and see how much it consumes. At the moment we're on this white one here. Is the internal temperature of the shed is 21.3. The outside temperature in green is 1.5 degrees. Here is the time, 15:32. We're using the DeLonghi Dragon. At the moment we are in an on period. If you have a look there, you can see just that one neon is on. Turn the light back on. And here on the watt meter, I shall reset it. And you can see at the moment it is using, when it's on, it's using 820 watts. So if we go on to this one now, here, function, this timer at the top is ticking down all the time the heater is in an on mode. So when it's calling for heat and it's running, that is ticking down, and it's measuring the amount of power used in that set time. When it stops, when it clicks off at the thermostat and it's in like its off bit, both of these will stop. So this is only going to show you the accumulated watts used in this amount of time. So we're going to come back in 2 hours time, 15:32, and we'll check it then. Okay, as you can see, it's now coming up to 17:32, 2 hours later. We're still at 21.3 degrees in here, 0.5 outside. That's exactly 2 hours now, and we have used, I'll turn the light off for this, you can probably see it a bit better. Yeah, 1.1 kilowatts, and in that 2 hours it's been turned on for 1 hour 20 minutes. So on for 1 hour 20 minutes and 1.1 kilowatts used. So as you see from the figures here, the oil-filled radiator did take longer to heat the room up, like I said, because it's starting off from stone cold. It's got to heat the oil and the metal up and everything. So it took longer to heat the room up, and it used more power in doing so, like 1.2 kilowatts more to heat the room up. Once it's got the room at temperature, for every sort of like couple of hours, it's using 500 watts less. So in 4 hours, it's made back that 1 kilowatt extra it took to heat the room up. And then after that, it's just cheaper to run because it can maintain that heat better with the built-in heat residue from the oil and the metal. So yeah, that shows you there that they are cheap to run once they're up to temperature. And to me, it's a nicer sort of heat. It's hard to explain, but with the fan heater, as well as the noise, you've got that constant noise. It's not a massive noise, but it's there. You're aware of it, particularly if you're on the PC and it's a quiet room. And it heats the air up and flows it around the room, but it tends to... The furniture still feels a bit cold to touch, whereas with the oil-filled radiator, you're getting more sort of like radiant heat out of it, and it's heating up its surroundings. Also, if I'm sat in the chair behind me, I can sort of like put my arm on it and it's nice warm feeling on my arm. If I'm sat here on my chair, particularly being in an open mesh back chair, the heat comes through that fantastic, and I can feel the radiant heat off that, which I can't off the fan heater. So yeah, so once it's up and running, they are definitely cheaper to run. So before I do the sort of final conclusion and summing up, I thought I'd film this bit just showing you the 3 different oil-filled radiators I've got. And again, I know I keep banging on about the surface area, but to my mind, that is the most important thing when you're looking for one. I'll repeat it in this bit as well, but yeah, it's the total surface area of that metal that makes the thing so efficient. The black one I bought, the Shannon one, which you'll be seeing soon, is 2.5 kilowatts output with both switches on. This DeLonghi behind me is only 2 kilowatts output with both switches on. But this is every bit the same performance on them 2 kilowatts, heating the room up and maintaining it and the energy consumption, as the Shannon is on 2.5 kilowatts. Because this one has got a lot more surface area on its heating fins. The worst of the 3 I've got is the little tiny one, the little Beldray. There's no timer on that, and it's only 1.5 kilowatts with them both on. And again, with both on switches on, because the thing gets so hot, it fools the inside stat and it turns off before the room has reached temperature. So if I'm trying to heat like even a small room like the bathroom or something like that from really cold, it struggles to do it because the thing is turning off before it's even got anywhere near the room temperature. So I would steer totally away of the little tiny consumption ones. Get one of a minimum of 2 kilowatts or more. You can always turn it down. So yeah, get something like the DeLonghi Dragon, and if you can't afford a new one at 150 quid, again, have a look on eBay. Since I bought the Shannon, I've looked on eBay, and there's quite a few DeLonghi Dragon 3s come up for about 50 sort of quid, which would be a better buy than buying a new one. So yeah, something like that, or if you haven't got one with all that surface area, something like the Shannon at 2.5 kilowatts. But steer clear of the little tiny Beldray one. If you read some of the bad reports on the Shannon on Amazon, it's the people who've bought the 6-finned one, not the 11-finned one, and they're only about like 650 watts output, and they say it's not hot enough for the room. Well, it's not going to be heating a big room up. So try and get the biggest output one you can get, and like I say, you can always turn it down. And yeah, that would be my advice. So let's have a look at these 3 different heaters now. Okay, so this is the sort of construction of this old DeLonghi Dragon 2. Like I say, over 15 years old, but been working great. Used a heck of a lot. This bit here, this surround is plastic, and the knobs and the clock and this bit and the cord holder, but everything else is metal. And like I say, I keep saying this, I keep stressing it, I know, repeating myself, but it's the surface area of these fins. Most of these radiators you'll find it's just a thin plate. On these there is extra metal welded, sort of like, or whatever, attached, going that way and that way on each fin, culminating in this wide piece here, which has got a depth to it as well. So if you could measure all the surface area of that round there, and that U-channel there, and that U-channel there, and the two bits going out to them, that's a heck of a lot more surface area. I would say probably double the surface area without having that on. And all that getting hot, I can hardly touch that now, all that getting red hot radiates heat into the room much better than just the single fins. So that would be my recommendation. That's what to look for when you're looking for an oil-filled radiator. So if you look at this one, again similar, the plastic around the front, that was the only plastic bit, but of course it is a much smaller capacity one. It's only 1.5 kilowatt output, this, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fins, but that is it. That is the fin. That's how thin it is. So your only surface area are them panels there. You know, they all do add up, but if there was extra metal sort of curving out there, and a strip there, and the strip along the top, you would say it would be giving out a much bigger surface area. So that's out of the 3 radiators I've got, that is the most minimalist of added metal, and that's how most of them are. And finally this one, this is the one I just bought. Have a look at my other video, see the card above for the or the link at the end for a full review on this. And like I mentioned in that, not as well made as the DeLonghi, but a lot cheaper. And although it hasn't got the full surface area of the DeLonghi, it has got these extra bits, just increasing the width under there of the normal panel. You can probably see down there. So it's got this extra bit attached on, which increases the surface area. And this, as you can see, is, there's a fin there at the front, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fins, and this is up to 2.5 kilowatts output. So there you have it. Like I say, to my mind, the oil-filled ones are much better, and for my use here in the shed, or if you're heating a room and you don't need that extreme portability and lightweightness of a fan heater, I would definitely go for one of these. But make your own mind up, and like I said, it's what suits me. So, like I said, I will put a link to the I keep calling it Shallen, it's Shallen. The Shallen one that I bought recently, and I did a review on. I put a screen at the end for that review, and I'll put a link below where I got it from Amazon. Don't forget, they are affiliated links. If you do buy something from that browsing session, when you click, I do get a tiny commission, which all helps with the channel, and it don't cost you anything extra. So hope it has been of some use to you, this vid. If it has, please give us a thumbs up. If it hasn't, give us a thumbs down. If you do want to subscribe and you're not already doing so, please click the little picture of the shed here on the left, and I'll catch you for the next one, because I've got the one on this weather station coming up once I give it a thorough try out in the snow. Hopefully it can predict some snow and that. Catch you for that one, and many more to come. Thanks for watching this. Bye for now.